Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Blue Dragon 5 here with a brand new adventurous installment of Pixar debates. Tonight's quest includes such highlights as which Pixar film has the best world building, best
Someone's
Pixar
gonna have to.
SparkShort.
Someone's gonna have to plug in headphones, guys. Someone doesn't have their headphones in, guys. Hello.
Yeah.
All right.
And
hopefully, whoever. Sorry, Dragon. Hopefully, whoever had that plugged in their headphones. Anyways, headphones, people.
someone have the video on, just out of curiosity.
No.
Okay. All right. Let's take from the top. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Blue Dragon 5 here with a brand new adventurous installment of Disney Debates. Tonight's quest includes such highlights as which Pixar film has the best world building, best Pixar SparkShort, and pitch for a Pixar coaster. Of course, all of this serving as the next leg in our journey to determine the next champion of Disney debates in the Trials of the Hyperion. This is round 2 of 3, folks. We're part 2 of 3 of our journey right now. So far, Mickey Fan has defeated Sandy Claus, and Mickey Fan will face the winner of tonight's debate in the epic conclusion. That is part 3. So remember that, kids. There's going to be a test at the end. So, without further ado, let's grab our D&D dice and start walking. Lots and lots of walking to the arena. In this corner, the wizard from California, who lives in a van down by the river, the original champ, Tiki!
Yeah, I'm already pulling my hair out trying to get the technical specifics of this thing, in line. So I'm sorry for starting late, folks. I'm really stressed out trying to get this thing to you guys.
And in the opposing corner, he flies like a pixie biker and breathes fire like a manticore. He's whimsical and wise. Meet the next-gen champ, Jacob Weil!
Onwards, everyone.
Yes. Shifted into onward. Means forward. Yeah, okay. And of course, co-judging with me, the victor of the last debate, Mickey Fan.
Hello.
And if he can dig his way out of the shame he feels for losing the previous debate, potentially Sandy Claus joining us. Potentially. All right. So, a little refresher to the full course, folks. It's kind of a. How's everybody doing? Let's start there. How's everybody doing? How you feeling, champs? How you doing?
I'm very uncertain and nervous, and I almost gave myself a panic attack because I couldn't start this in time. So yeah, I'm doing great.
Yeah, Jacob.
Doing fine.
All right, Mickey Fan.
I'm doing just dandy.
Get this man some coffee. All right, so.
We antisocial people shall inherit the earth. Am I right, Mickey Fan?
Absolutely.
Let's get this man a clean cup of coffee. Okay.
Right.
So.
Oh God.
All right, so a little refresher to the folks who may be joining us here, in case they're just kind of jumping in, kind of our 3-part excursion here. Just pretty much standard Disney debate kind of operating procedure, but just so you know how the home game is played. You got 3 rounds, all Pixar related. We kind of go around after we establish the order. The contenders will reveal their pick. They will then give an opening statement in which they kind of make all their redeeming points, basically kind of lay out the argument, kind of a little description there, get all the stuff they want in, kind of up front. And then it's a fight to the fiery finish. Someone bring the fire extinguishers because it's going to be a scorcher. And of course, my reliable co-star, no offense, Mickey Fan, R2. Is the bell, and then it's time for the tribunal to deliberate and vote for the winner of the round. Now, at the end of 3 rounds, we go to the coin. Of course, we get to the coin. It's a fully optional feature of the game, as it has been, which means at the end of 3 rounds, I'm going to allow one of these 2 jokers. I'm going to allow both of these jokers the opportunity to flip forward. If it lands heads, guess what? They can get a point. Lands tails, well, not so lucky. They lose a point.
And what about the mystery coin?
There is no mystery coin.
No Mr. Coin?
In lieu of it, though, there are a few surprises. There are a few surprises along the way. I won't tat them off
I
here.
don't like
Folks,
that.
I should warn you both that each, again, we're talking about like the new champion of Disney debates here. This is a big thing what we're doing with the whole trial, the Hyperion of it all. So, of course, each debate is getting progressively more difficult, so you're all forewarned that ahead of time. And I'll have a little disclaimer, a little prep thing for you getting into the third round. Whoever wins this debate at the very end.
Oh
You'll have
boy,
to wait and
okay.
see. So again, this
Ominous.
debate will be more difficult than round 1 as part of Trials of Hyperion, as I already mentioned. Do you gentlemen understand the rules as I have explained them to you here this fine evening?
Yep.
Of course, remember, folks, the winner goes on to the finale of our Tournament of Champions, if you will.
Did you just say tournament?
Yes, I did. And also, we're blessed today, guys. Guess who's in the comments?
Who's in the comments? Demona B. Oh my god. Hey, Demona.
Give her a warm
Nice.
welcome.
Nice to see you. And of course, Dragon, you want to tell the folks that they can influence the results of this in the chat if they so desire.
Folks, we're definitely looking for feedback, and especially until hopefully our third of the tribunal shows
He's
up.
here. He's here.
Oh, goody! What do you know? Someone's finally woken up. Okay.
Hey, Sandy.
Hello.
Sandy, you're just in time because we're about to start the first round, so you haven't missed any judging or anything.
Oh yeah, I know. I've been listening to Dragon's entire spiel here.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So again, audience members, we love to hear your feedback. It might help us make some deliberations, but also we're really going to need you, again, depending on some kind of surprise features of the show here, of kind of this exciting round 2. You guys might be able to call some rounds and influence who wins this debate.
How to
Who
call
knows?
rounds and influence people.
That's what I'm saying, folks. You hold the true power. The power is with the people, one could say.
You're
Forget
so-
about reading
you
that
got the
book. All you
touch.
have to do is listen to Disney debates to get that influence.
It's like, you got the touch. You
Oh,
got
God.
the power.
Yeah.
Avenge me!
All right.
All right.
So let's go to the randomizer. Let's
I
find
forgot
out.
about the randomizer.
Yes, let's
Oh,
find out who's
Jesus.
going when,
Okay.
who's going first, how this whole crazy thing starts, and where it possibly ends.
All right.
Randomizer still loves
Randomizer.
you, buddy. Jacob
Yeah, up to
Weil
its
still
old
going
tricks.
first. Yep.
All right, I'm going first.
All right. Okay, so folks, first surprise, guys, right off the bat. You ready?
Oh, God.
So one of the initial one round could be the main round, could be the speed round. One round will be worth 2 points. I won't say which one.
Oh, God, no. Oh, God.
Could be round 1, could be 2, could be 3, could be any number of the speed
I'm
round
not a fan
questions.
of this.
Well, with that attitude, you're never going to make it to the big conclusion.
Oh,
man.
God.
You gotta buck up. All right.
All right.
Round numero uno, in honor of Pixar's Onward, which I really like, by the way. I think general consensus, it was a solid movie, man. It was a fun time, and again, for a long while, it's gonna be the last theater experience that we're gonna have. But again, it was a great one to go out on. So, round 1, which Pixar film has the best world building? So the best world building, everything was on the table. We're talking from Toy Story to Onward in terms of everything that was on the table. We're looking for what is the best conceived and kind of conceptualized fictional world in a Pixar film. I'm talking design, logistics, logic, fun, etc. All that sort of stuff kind of factor into the logic here. Who has what?
I chose Coco.
Coco.
I chose Inside Out.
Remember me.
Okay, yet again, just to say for posterity, so yet again, folks, like the Batman Superman kind of like everyone wants to see these two go at it, of Pixar is constantly so
these
often
two are very much like, yeah, the modern day, like, you know, like Toy Story versus The Incredibles or whatever the comparison was back in the day.
It's Coco.
Oh,
It's Coco
yeah.
going up against Inside Out. Yet again.
This is gonna be a tough one.
Oh yeah.
And also, this is again another fun fact with our matchup this evening, folks. Again, for the belt, these two guys they've been sparring with each other for years. They're kind of like the Apollo, Creed, and Rocky of Disney.
That's true.
Like
That's
ding,
true.
ding. There was one battle none of us saw. We have no idea who won until a Creed movie comes out. Point being, folks, these guys, these are two champions kind of going toe to toe with each other here. So we're in for quite a show, and this is like the debate they constantly keep going one on one with. So, Jacob, opening statement, Coco.
A good sign. The best sign for me of a well-designed world is a world that I would personally want to step into. One that looks fully realized and lived in. One that basically Coco is the world of the dead. Land of the dead is that world. Obviously, it's different. Obviously, you can't live in that world because you'd have to be dead, but that's beside the point. Anyways, this world is impeccably crafted. Like, there's always something going on. Like, it's beautiful. It's a beautifully crafted world. It's a fully realized world of the dead. Like, everything's going on. It's logistically built, but it also feels like, ironically, being a land of dead, it has so much life in it. It's definitely the afterlife event of your afterlife. It's like look at it. Even on days when it wouldn't be Dia de los Muertos, this world would be full of life and full of fun, and basically there's all kinds of things that are going on around here. That's the sign of a very excellent world, one that you want to step into, one that looks like when it's so warm, so inviting, so much fun. Even if it does have its darker element, and heck, it's even well crafted in its more darker elements, and where the element where people are forgotten too. People being forgotten, people fading away. But that's the beauty of it. It represents both life and death in the world of the dead. But it's a celebration. People are being celebrated there. So it's just basically a party 24/7. Logistically, it makes sense. There's all kinds of things happening there. It just seems the environments are impeccably designed. The world is just pure magic and beautiful, and definitely Pixar's best crafted world to date.
Okay, Tiki.
All right,
As
so my simple argument for Inside Out versus Coco. Coco is absolutely a magnificent world, filled with wonder, filled with vibrancy. Here's the thing, though. With Coco, the designers had all the influence in the world with Mexican architecture and folklore and, and style. And we even had, Book of Life. I'm not going to say they directly lifted the style from Book of Life, but, they already had a film to kind of see how other animators did this same kind of world. With Inside Out, not only did they take a setting that was much more abstract than the setting of Coco, by all intents and purposes, they did it, and they did it within, just this abstract landscape that we've never seen before in film. I love with Inside Out, we just get illogical logic up the wazoo with the world building in Inside Out. We've got the islands of personality. We've got, all the different things you associate with the human mind. The dream studio, the abstract thought, the train of thought. It's just every little element of the world of Inside Out, both inside Riley's own head and then also, expanding out to the real world of San Francisco, and you feel the terror of going to Oakland and everything like that. But just the way that the world of Inside Out kind of like the real world kind of blends together into the world building of being inside the human mind, and it just works in tandem with each other so well. I'm not going to deny that Coco's world building is fantastic, but I just think with Inside Out, they had a much harder challenge to really visualize something that was just absolutely living in the abstract space with no visual reference to go off of. That's why I think Inside Out is the better accomplishment.
All right, boys. Time to fight it out.
I mean, like I said, I think that while Coco is a beautiful world, there's just a ton of different resources that they had at their disposal to craft said world. So at the end of the day, it really is just kind of like a big research thing, other than like an actual original world.
Like technically, something like this was something entirely their creation. I mean, obviously, Day of the Dead and the Land of the Dead isn't entirely their concept, but their definition of it and creation of it is. And think about it, they also had to take into respect the culture, the Mexican culture, and completely make represented in a faithful way that told their story and was faithful to their mythology and folklore, which is definitely a difficult challenge in of itself.
It's a difficult challenge, to be sure, but like I said, I just think the argument here is that they already had a primer to work with. And because of that, I feel like a lot of the things with Coco become a little bit predictable.
Inside Out had reason, emotion, and cranial command.
Okay, well, with Cranium Command, like, yeah, you're not wrong. The overall design, the overall concept of Inside Out came from Cranium Command, but all the visual world building expanded out from that. I mean, Cranium Command was a very basic attraction, and then we didn't really see much anything of the actual inner workings of the human mind, except for, Buzzy and all that. And so Inside Out just essentially, yeah, they had a primer to work with, but they had a much, much, much more small primer. They had like, hey, here's this vague idea for a cool animatronic show that we might be able to stretch a feature film out of, versus Coco, which is like, hey, we have the entire landscape of Mexico, the entire tapestry of Mexican art and folklore to work with. So I think Coco is a beautiful, like, it's a paint by numbers, it's like, let's put all these different things, all these different elements of Mexican culture together, and it's a beautiful paint by numbers. It's like the 16th chapel of paint by numbers. But with Inside Out, not only do they use all these different concepts like the emotions and the memories and all the different locations, but they blend them together in different animation styles, like Abstract Thought being 2D, and then the Dream Studio being this kind of like Hollywood parody, and just everything about how they, and it has its darker parts too. It has the parts where the memories get forgotten, and I would wager to say that the part where people get forgotten in Inside Out is a lot more memorable than the same part in Coco, even though that seems effective in Coco. You just can't forget the chasm of forgotten memories in Inside Out. It's just it's such an instantly Don Bluthian image to stick with you for the role building.
Maybe Coco is painted by the numbers, but that's what makes it more effective and more connective, especially like maybe the Inside Out one. Like, I think the way that's what makes Coco work. It takes this foundation and improves upon it and makes it work with its feature film. Like I think there's a lot of untapped potential in Inside Out that they couldn't reach, but Coco, and same with Coco. Like there's all kinds of things happening in Coco, like the attention to detail, there's everything going on. Like there's everything. Like there's all kinds of things happening inside. And like, technically, what about all the parties and everything? I'm kind of walking here.
With the parties, I feel like that's actually a strike against Coco, because it almost the whole thing just feels like one big party. It's like one big fiesta atmosphere to it, and it almost gets to be a little bit of a sensory overload. I'm not saying there's not quiet parts to the Coco world, but I'm just saying that I feel like with Inside Out, they did a better job of defining like visually where everything is, like, the long-term memory hallways of, basically being like this giant library, or the islands of personality, being these big pillars, these these almost sacred landmarks, if you will. And I just think with all that, visually, just the world of the film just really came to life in a much more bold way. Whereas, like I said, with Coco was just kind of like, you know, it was Mexican folklore and artistry thrown onto the screen in a bold way in its own right. But go ahead.
One thing that makes Coco stand out above all the others, it's music. The music is an integral part of Coco's world building, and without it, and that's something that's definitely a strike it has over Inside Out. Even Inside
no.
The music, it's the world. The music in Inside Out isn't ingrained into its world. Coco's.
Dragon, don't you dare ring that bell before I get to defend Inside Out's score.
No promises.
I'm not talking about the score. I'm talking about music's important to the plot.
Okay, well, I feel like at the very least with Inside Out, we have the diegetic thing about the Inside Out score is that each instrument is represented by a different emotion. So you have, you have the woodwinds for joy, you have the tuba for sadness, you have all these different instruments working in tandem with each other to not only tell the story of the characters, but tell the story of the world that the characters are influencing. It might not be as direct of like, hey, we're in a Mexican landscape. Here's a bunch of really beautiful mariachi music, which is nice in its own right. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like with the music of Inside Out, it goes a long way towards that abstract thing that I'm hyping up with the Inside Out world building. It's such a significant flavor to the abstract nature of Inside Out.
And not to mention, and look, let me move away from the Land of the Dead. If you're talking about all the mariachi stuff, bringing in Mexico, basically this shows the contrast between the two worlds, and it actually shows it in a very effective way. Like it's tapping into the local culture in a way that Inside Out didn't.
Jacob, you're absolutely right. Inside Out didn't show any contrast to the real world in any sort of meaningful way whatsoever. You're totally right.
You're not listening to me, Tiki. Basically, all we got to we didn't get to see much of the outside world. Most of the film obviously took place inside her head. We get to see plenty of Coco from both the perspective of Mexico and inside the world of the dead. And the music, including like "Remember Me" and the story of Hector and De La Cruz, ties both of the worlds together.
All right, I just think when you have moments like Riley, deciding to get off the bus, I'm not even going to make an Oakland joke there. Or you have moments like the first day of school. I mean, man, those moments really do just rely on the interaction between the world building within Riley's mind and the actual world in which Riley inhabits. So you can't just say that Inside Out doesn't have that stuff going on for it. It does. It might not play with it as much as Coco does, but man, when it plays with it, it's super effective.
And I think Coco does a lot better with integration of especially the variations of "Remember Me."
Fair enough.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, my vote. I'm going to keep it simple. Let the rest of these guys kind of speak to the whys. I vote Tiki.
Woo.
Sandy.
I vote Tiki as well. Yeah.
Woo.
I gotta go with Tiki.
Woo.
Hey, Tiki across the board. What do you know? I mean,
But Dragon, let's take a moment to explain why.
Yeah, please do. I was hoping you were going to elaborate.
Why I have decided to go with Tiki over Jacob is simply because Tiki had there was a lot to go with, just a lot to just try and break down. I think he did it very efficiently and very productively, and he did a good job at explaining what exactly goes down, or basically what the entire world is about, how it all fits together, and what makes it unique above the rest of the Pixar universes. Not what makes it exactly better, just more unique than most of the other universes in the Pixar canon. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Mickey?
I think for me, you almost won this from the start when you said, Coco was able to draw inspiration from culture. Inside Out was, for the most part, purely original, and they took almost anything and everything that you could and put that inside Riley's head, and I really think that's what won it for me.
So for me, it was honestly, Jacob. I think you're a little repetitious towards the start of things. I think that might have hurt you just a smidge. But honestly, what really kind of took is that Tiki covered a lot of ground. He covered a lot of ground in illustrating the world building, such as the mapping of the worlds. As early in Inside Out, we established all the different the emotion islands, the train of thought, all the basically kind of illustrate a little bit more around there how kind of parallel the characters. I feel Jacob is really going toe to toe with them though on the whole basically saying that the Tiki made the argument that the bases were loaded with you can go to Mexico, you can do all the research you want on Day of the Dead, Dias de los Muertos, and have Book of Life. Jacob really held firm on that, and then he kind of argued the music, and Tiki he really held his ground there with the whole kind of musical themes reflecting the characters versus kind of how the actual songs are reflected between the two worlds.
And which I honestly I don't get why music was brought into this, because this is about the world, not elements of the film as a whole.
True, but to be fair, in the case of Coco, though, music does definitely have a role within that one. There's
Music is kind of integral to Coco, but I think that it's also kind of in the score of Inside Out is really integral to how I think of that world.
Well, props to Michael Giacchino. He did both.
Yes, he did. Oh man, I love Giacchino. Unbelievable, Giacchino. He's going to be doing the score for both Batman and he's done Spider-Man at this point. So
oh God.
Anyways,
just one last thing here.
Ever.
Yeah.
Just one last thing here for me is Coco has Remember Me, but Inside Out has all the different variations of Bundle of Joy. Bundle of Joy is pretty much the baseline in which the rest of the score is built out of. So just throwing that out there.
Jacob, just to give you proud of my boy points here.
Oh God.
Jacob, when you mentioned Cranium Command, it's like, oh, he did it, man. He's there, man. He's got his research.
I was ready for Cranium Command.
All right, well, still, I'm not praising you right now. Take your win and just
all right.
Anyway,
I know some things.
I know that's anyway.
That was a thing.
But anyway, but also just to highlight.
I also mentioned reason and emotion.
True. So, Demona B had an excellent point. Demona B, she was also kind of in the Inside Out camp, making a point. She made a little anecdote here. Psychology teacher. Did I click that, or is that you, Tiki?
I clicked it.
Sorry, just one minute. I don't think I can't even click these, can I? Sorry, Inside Baseball. Sorry about that, folks. Yeah. So Demona B says our psychology teacher used Inside Out to basically explain how the mind works and how meaningful, important memories are, and all of that. So yes, fun little anecdote. I'm sure it's Pixar that really did their research, especially Pete Docter, and he went. He brought in the professor's psychology. They got all figured out, and it reflects very well within that film. And I like that it's being put out into the world now. Getting inspiration from the professionals, and now Inside Out doling out to the professionals themselves. It's kind of the ultimate visual explanation. It's a fun way the world works, isn't it? Okay. So, boys, I got a little surprise for you. This round was so fun. Let's move on to the next one. Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
I'm really not a fan of this 2-point thing, man. I think the coin makes it all the more fair. All right.
Technically, he gets all these questions, and if Tiki wins all these questions, if there are 2 points, if one of them's 2 points and he gets the coin, he'll win without even having to go to the speed run.
Oh, God. All right.
It's entirely possible. All right. Well, you guys got to be on your game. You got to be on point on this one. All right.
I will say I'm much less confident about this round than I was about the last round.
All right. Now that everything is finally out and available and on Disney Plus, finally all the SparkShorts are out. So in honor of that, we've been waiting to get to this one for a while, and everybody's had the opportunity to see all of them. Round 2. What is the best Pixar SparkShort? Both of our contenders, they had the full opportunity to choose between any of the 6 SparkShorts. All 6 of them were on the table and all available for them to watch. Okay.
Can I just say Short Circuit would have been harder to choose from?
It would have been, but, well, still, yeah.
Well, mainly because there's more of them.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, there's more. Now you can finally watch that Raindrop one. Anyway.
All right.
Jacob, what do you got?
For mine, I went with Kit Bull.
Kit Bull, nominated for the Oscar. Ooh.
They all float, Georgie. They all float.
We all float down here.
The desperate plea for Stephen King's approval with the other one. No, in all seriousness, Float, another excellent one. Probably should have been nominated for the Oscar. Point being, two excellent shorts. No, yours actually was nominated for the Oscar.
I know, but you just said his should have been.
Well, I'm saying I wish they all were nominated for the Oscar, if I'm being honest. I kind of wish they all were.
Complete SparkShort slate, honestly.
I'm saying, personally, I love all these SparkShorts. There's anyone would have been fantastic for this one, being honest,
But they all lost.
Yeah, but at least the one, Hair was good too, so at least Hair something got it. So
Hair
I'm good got it. Anyway, sorry, back on points. Jacob, opening statement.
Kit Bull stands out as unique amongst the SparkShorts for many reasons. It's definitely a lot darker than a lot of the other stories among Pixar, even darker than some elements of the other Pixar short, other SparkShorts. It's also unique in the terms that it's the only 2D short out of the entire bunch, told in definitely a unique visual style outside that Pixar or Disney really hasn't really done yet, creating a visual treat as well as a very engrossing, sometimes visceral and brutal story. It's a beautifully told story, one completely done without a single word of dialogue, but you know exactly what's going on due to the strength of the animation, the score, everything comes together to create what I believe to be the best short of the entire bunch, Kit Bull.
All right, Tiki.
All right, so I'm going to go the unpopular route here. I honestly think out of all the SparkShorts, Kit Bull might be the one that's the most overrated, specifically because of that animation style. I feel like people are just freaking out about oh my God, it's a 2D Pixar short. It's so cool. And I'm not going to deny that the style is wonderful. But in terms of just having a story that hits hard, I think that Kit Bull, by comparison, feels like just a regular Pixar short. A Pixar short that is hard hitting, but still, a Pixar short. Whereas Float is where they just take the emotional impact and absolutely kick it up to 11. I love Float for a variety of reasons. Of course, not the most of which is that I have an autistic little brother myself. I have been in this exact same sort of situation. I have yelled at him, "Why can't you be normal?" That "why can't you be normal" moment is just such a poignant, cutting, heartbreaking, that moment in itself to me is just way more impactful than anything in Kit Bull. I think that Kit Bull is visually stunning, and I think it is pretty ambitious with the themes. I think it's a very abstract movie with the themes it wants to go for. But what I like about Float is that Float is very on the money for what it's trying to do. Float is essentially trying to show you what it's like, not only in the eyes of an autistic child, but what it's like to parent an autistic child and the struggles and the joys that come along with something like that. And I just feel like Float just accomplishes its mission statement a lot more, whereas Kit Bull accomplishes something on a more abstract level. I think Float is a much more defined success. I think I can look at Float and be like, yeah, it absolutely did these things right. Whereas Kit Bull, I can look at Kit Bull and be like, that was a very interesting, thought-provoking short. But I just don't think it's as defined as Float is. All right.
All right, boys. Let's kill each other with animation, shall we?
I mean, yeah, like I said, I just think Kit Bull is a little overhyped in the style department, and I feel like people are just going to use the it got nominated for an Oscar. It got nominated for an Oscar probably because of its style. I just think
and Float looks like every other Pixar movie ever.
What, in terms of the style?
Yeah, like the baby looks like a baby linguine.
Well, I feel like that is one of the things that subverts your expectations with Float, is that you're right. It is, it does very much look like an average Pixar movie, but then when you get into But when you get into the actual thick of things with the themes,
that's exactly what it is.
all right. Well, I don't see how that's a bad thing. I think that's a very heavy hitting message in there. Whereas Kit Bull is just like, hey, look. Honestly, I feel like Kit Bull kind of goes in the opposite direction, where you see the kind of 2D graffiti art, and it almost kind of distracts you from the message of Kit Bull. I'm not saying everyone's distracted by it. I mean, people have embraced it, but
in my honest opinion, it actually enhances it, it basically becomes more visceral because of it.
I mean, I just think that I don't know. I just think that,
and quite frankly, as far as like the analogies towards autistic things go, I think that Luke handled it a lot better than this one did.
Well, that's a matter of opinion. I don't know. I think with Kit Bull, we have a situation where a lot of people just embraced it for the style, but didn't really exactly know what the substance to it was. Not saying there's not substance there, just saying that the substance there is much more abstract, much more kind of like you have to really dig to get to the root of what Kit Bull's about.
It's not really that abstract. It's basically a story about. It's essentially about two like an abused pit bull and a cat teaming up to leave their life and find a new life. It's not really that abstract. And the art style actually enhances that, makes it more accessible.
Whereas Float just I don't know, I don't know why the art style doesn't enhance Float either, because like I said, it's the whole thing with Float is that the normalcy is one of the things that gets hit on the head. Float does exist in a very benign, normal world, but with a main character, yes, baby Linguini, if you will, that, very much exists outside of that normalcy. And, as a family with autistic people in it, myself included, and my little brother, that theme is just so impactful to me. The one person who stands out both positively and negatively, and the whole theme of like trying to balance your gifts with the things that make you kind of, maybe more of a challenge to deal with. I don't know. It's so honest and real, whereas Kit Bull is just kind of like, oh, look, it's a cute cat and a cute dog, and they're going to be best friends, even though they shouldn't like each other. I just feel like...
That's not it at all.
I mean, at the end of the day, Kit Bull is kind of like a vague getting over prejudice metaphor. That's what I interpreted Kit Bull as. And that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I'm getting at with the difference between Kit Bull and Float, where I could interpret Kit Bull in a number of different ways, but Float has one very, very solid meaning that they hit you over the head with the why can't you be normal scene. So with that in mind, I guess the question just becomes, what do the judges appreciate more? Do they appreciate the more abstract qualities of Kit Bull, or do they appreciate Float for being, a little bit more on the nose with what it's trying to say, a little bit more just poignant and powerful because of how striking it is?
I think Kit Bull manages to be both. It's like simple and complex. Like its message is obviously it's simple, but the fact that it can be interpreted in many ways, like it actually strengthens the storytelling. And as I said, it actually does all this without a single word of dialogue. It basically conveys everything through masterful use of music, the characters' expressions, and basically even the environment, the like symbolic raining and everything. The abstract nature is both abstract and straightforward.
And Float accomplishes everything with one line of dialogue, one very, very, very impactful line of dialogue. So I feel like we are very much on kind of equal playing fields here. It's going to be interesting to see what the judges think, because frankly, I feel like we can sit here all day kind of tearing, just exchanging boxing jabs at each other with this. Like at the end of the day, they are two very high quality films that are trying for two very, very different things. One in a more realistic way, one in a more abstract way. It's going to be interesting.
That was actually a short but sweet argument.
Mickey Fan, what's your ruling?
This is a tough one.
Oh, it's a toughie, all right.
Yeah.
That was like a very short one.
Yeah.
It's not tough for me.
On basis of the argument alone,
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to go with Kitbull.
Okay, Mickey Fan votes Jacob for the point. Sanders.
Tiki, and I'll explain why. First of all, I've never seen these two shorts, so this is purely based on argument. I did do a little bit of research on this before the argument, but that's basically all I have. First of all, I think Jacob was in the wrong saying that. Well, I mean, this Float looks like every other Pixar film ever, which is true, but every Pixar film looks like every other Pixar film, and yet they keep surprising us. So why does that differ here? Why should that differ here? So I really wanted to say that when Jacob was making that defense, and I kept my tongue, but I just needed to say that now because that's what Pixar is known for. They have a certain style, and they vary from it sometimes, but I think Jacob spent a little bit too much time tearing down Float and not giving us enough reasons why Kitbull should be in the leading position. Yeah, that's
Mickey Fan, why did you pick Jacob?
And much as I love both of these, I think Jacob just had a little bit more of an in-depth argument for why Kitbull was the better SparkShort.
Explain.
It was experimental. He was talking about that with the animation style. It was completely dialogue free. It was basically a Fantasia short, honestly. Just these little arguments that kind of went deeper than Tiki's very good argument about the nature of Float on it being very symbolic and very on the nose with its symbolism, but just there were those little arguments that sent me toward Jacob.
Well, also I think Tiki did a really good, did well by making the argument that Float it's about autism, and it's not exactly something that's talked about in this type of sense very often on this kind of scale, especially Pixar. The kind of audience that they have, and I think that definitely trumps over another story about friendship, because we all know how many of those there are out there. So I think that was also another card well played in Tiki's favor.
You know what? I feel it's a very even match. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to the audience, and Demona says Float. So I'm going to go Float, which means Tiki gets the point.
I mean, they all float.
It was a very close match on both sides, as you can probably tell by kind of our judges and kind of the deadlock.
I was a lot less confident with that one. I got to tell you, I think I won that by the skin.
Oh, you did, sir. You did, sir.
Well,
But
you guys are doing a good job. You guys are both doing a good job.
absolutely.
Thanks.
I can feel the heat.
And guys, by the way, surprise, that was worth 2 points.
Oh, really?
Yes, so Tiki's got 3 points right now.
Oh, man. Okay. So, yeah, I could very much win this and then win a coin toss, and then it'll be over.
But again, there might be a few surprises along the way, so,
What, is one of the winners going to lose points?
You joke about that.
It's actually the loser.
You joke about that sort of thing, but...
All right. You're like the Survivor producers, Dragon. Why don't you just keep things simple? Just an immunity idol, and that's it.
Oh, what hell hath I wrought?
All right.
Oh, you boys are never gonna last into round.
We're
three. Oh my
living in a
gosh.
global epidemic right now. Nothing is impossible.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I said, what hell hath I wrought?
So, given that the two of you have been travel buddies in the past, going kind of the Civil War approach, we've gone kind of a little bit of the Batman v Superman route earlier on. Now we're going a little bit more of the Civil War route. You two have been travel buddies in the past, and given Tiki's recent
Magic Mountain 2019.
yes, given Tiki's most recent excursion to Florida and his little diluted coaster credit challenge.
Don't remind people I've been in Florida. I might get like quarantined or something. Like actually quarantined in a hospital or something.
Anyway, so Kevin Smith, he went like 60 cities, Tiki, and he's fine. I think you're okay in
All
terms
right,
of
fair
people
enough,
going after
fair
you,
enough.
right? Very publicly have like sold tickets to events in 60 cities. I think you're fine. Anyway, so folks, that brings us to round 3. Pitch the next Pixar coaster. So, folks, this is a kind of a not. Basically, the premise of this one is not a currently explored Pixar franchise in coaster form, as in the three franchises that are off limits with this would be Toy Story, The Incredibles, and Nemo, which also include Finding Dory big and under the whole Nemo banner.
Wait,
So,
wait, what coaster does Nemo have?
Crush's coaster.
What was it?
Crush's coaster in Disney Studios Paris.
Oh, I didn't even know
Also,
that.
the old submarine voyage, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're looking for coasters.
Well, that's not a
specifically.
coaster.
That's the thing.
I didn't-
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know that Crush one was a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Thing.
It's totally a thing. All right,
Fair enough.
Jacob, what do you got, buddy?
I mean, do I need to say what the actual coaster is, or do I just need to like say what?
Just
Well,
say your
at
IP
least say what
and
your
then
what,
you
yeah,
can,
what your IP
then you can make a
is.
pitch.
And Tiki, I think
I went with Inside Out.
You think what, Dragon?
never mind.
Okay. You sure?
No, now I'm sure. I say yeah. I'm sure.
Okay. I went with Onward.
Put the pedal to O for Onward.
All right, boys.
Right, now you make your pitch, Jacob.
dazzle me.
All right. The world of Inside Out is definitely an interesting one, and one that's yet to be explored in the confines of the Disney parks, to at least to any huge extent. But the inside of your mind is definitely something that would be within the Imagineer's alley, and that's why I like to pitch the idea like Inside Out's Train of Thought, the ride. Basically, the inside would basically. The facade could be like a giant brain or something, or I didn't really give that part much thought, but the queue could be pretty much like the command center, basically using advanced animatronics to see to portray the emotions and everything. But the ride itself would basically be the inside of a child's mind, representing the thought zipping back and forth, representing the very fast thoughts and mind of a young child. What this would be able to do is like basically create a unique, basically it'd be kind of like a roller coaster crossed with somewhat of a dark ride. Basically allow the Imagineers to create a unique experience and go completely nuts with their creativity and designs. Basically, it'd be a combination of using both screens and optical illusions to create a unique, thrilling experience, a coaster unlike anyone has ever seen.
All right,
That sounds awesome.
Tiki.
So you know what we need to do, guys? We need to redeem Onward, because Onward is this great little Pixar movie. It's got the intimacy of like a Ratatouille or something, and that's what I love about it. It's a very unique, very personal Pixar film. And it unfortunately got released in the wake of this whole mess that everyone's dealing with right now. And so it kind of bombed. So my goal with Onward, the ride, or let's just call it Onward, the coaster, or something like that. I don't know. I don't really have a name. Forget about the name. But my goal with the Onward coaster is to redeem Onward, to essentially make it the Splash Mountain or the Radiator Springs Racers of the Onward franchise, where people will think about the ride before they even think of the movie because the ride is done so well. And what's the ride, you ask? It's very simple. The setup is that Ian and Barley accidentally clone Guinevere 2, and so we've got a bunch of Guinevere 2 clones that we have to ride around in, Guinevere being the van in Onward, you know, the famous van. We have an open-top Guinevere design that's been cloned over and over and over again by a spell that Barley and Ian unfortunately messed up. And also, Barley has been shrunken down to the size of a pixie, much like in the movie, and an animatronic tiny pixie version of Barley actually rides in your ride vehicle with you, a la Captain Rex. So the whole coaster is just this crazy quest through the world of Onward to fix the cloning mishap with the coaster cars to get Guinevere 2 back in one piece, literally. You come across a whole bunch of different set pieces. We have an encounter with the Manticore, maybe a couple of encounters with creatures who weren't in the movie, maybe a Medusa-style creature. We have to have an encounter with the climatic dragon that I won't spoil for you if you've seen the movie, but if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So the Onward coaster, I feel like, is going to be a great way because you have that ride vehicle already built in. It's going to be a great way to redeem the franchise, and I feel like this, much like a lot of other Pixar movies, is kind of an attraction waiting to happen. Even though it might not be the best reviewed Pixar movie, it's kind of on that same scale of Cars where you see it and you're like, I can totally imagine a ride out of this because of the vehicle that the characters have throughout the movie and because of the fantasy setting. And that's my pitch for Onward. I think it could really work out.
All right, psychology versus magic, Nolan versus Jackson. Love it. Let's see it in the ring. Fight it out.
So I think I'm going to argue that I think the abstract world of Inside Out works for a movie, but I don't necessarily think it works for a theme park. I feel like with what works for theme parks better is a more tangible physical world like Onward represents. With Inside Out, you'd have a unique projection-based coaster, but I feel like it'd be harder to actually draw you into the world than it would be with Onward.
The goal of the Imagineer is to make the impossible possible, and basically all the groundwork is laid out within Inside Out itself. Imagineers have been able to do these things, like be able to trick your mind. Like Space Mountain only goes barely goes 30 miles an hour, but it tricks you into going so much faster because of it. They can easily create something like inside a roller coaster inside a child's mind. And the abstract nature would allow them to go absolutely nuts with like the way the layout and basically the designs. Whereas Onward's like, oh, it's another fantasy coaster.
Okay, so here's my argument with Inside Out, is I feel like Disney in general has been criticized with using too much projection mapping. We've seen that with Runaway Railway. I personally love Runaway Railway, but that ride is being criticized for using too many projections and not enough physical sets.
But one thing that I did point out, and I was like using animatronics and like using good old optical illusions to create basically, do you know how in the film it goes over like a large chasm? Basically, they can use just basically not just projections, but real just like not projection effects, but actual optical illusions and stuff they've been using for years inside there to basically create multiple senses of depth.
But I feel like with Onward, you just get more opportunity to have those physical and realized and very chunky and, like fully fleshed out sets. With Inside Out, you would have to kind of, you would have to get like kind of half 2D, half 3D with a lot of it.
And honestly, I don't see how that's a bad thing. It's like it's combining Disney's past, but also their future as well. Basically, as I said, it'd be something that they can pull up, but also something that's never been done before.
Okay, you know what ride isn't very popular right now in spite of it just opening? Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. You know what ride is super popular right now? Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. My Onward coaster would be very similar to Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, with the physical sets, with the big creatures we'd encounter, but it'd still be a thrilling coaster experience. It would even borrow the element of the ride vehicle getting cloned from Hagrid's, which, yes, I am kind of lifting that unapologetically. I feel like Onward would just very much be a bigger hit than Inside Out would be. I feel like with Inside Out, you would have maybe just another Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway where people like the ride, but it's not a big hit. I feel like with Onward, because of the fantasy setting, even though the movie itself isn't a big hit, I feel like it's one of those attractions that just absolutely sells itself based on the concept. And who doesn't want to ride in a miniature recreation of Guinevere? And who doesn't want to ride with a tiny, 2 foot tall barley animatronic guiding you the whole way? I mean, I feel like these ingredients are just absolutely entrenched into what makes a successful Disney coaster, whereas Inside Out, you'd have to do a lot more, just a lot more kind of heavy lifting to even convey the concept to begin with. And I'm not saying it couldn't be done. I'm just saying with Onward, you've got a roadmap right there.
And as I'm saying, that's the Imagineer's job. And why would people really go see go to a ride based on something that wasn't really well known? Inside Out actually lends the job of the Imagineers to
Why is Splash Mountain still open, Jacob? Why haven't they rethemed Splash Mountain to Winnie the Pooh or something? Ooh. It's because Splash Mountain, in spite of everything, is a very successful ride with a very successful
people still know,
structure to it.
Because people still know about Song of the South.
But does Disney want them to know about Song of the South? I'm saying that's how successful a really good attraction can be. I feel like there's more people that love Avatar Flight of Passage than love the movie Avatar. There's more people that love Radiator Springs Racers than love the car movies.
I mean, can you guys can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I just wanted to finish this thing now, Jacob. It's all you, man.
Honestly, I think that Inside Out is more beloved than Onward. Basically, even people that have seen it, people say that Inside Out would be a much better investment into if Disney would not really probably want to make a ride. They'd probably make it after they would for Inside Out. Inside Out has the potential. Basically, the job of the Imagineers is to distill a ride into its basic elements. And basically, the train of thought would be the best way to represent Inside Out. They could present all the creativity of the movie, all of its abstract natures, and still provide a thrilling experience, a thrilling, unique, interesting experience. Onward would just be maybe we should just go ride Hagrid's coaster. But it's let's go right Inside Out. That's actually what's over there? What's over there? It's but you can explore the inside of a child's mind. Something that outside of Inside Out, nobody has ever seen before. Going inside and experiencing that for yourself, a roller coaster of everything, of a swirling child's imagination. Now that would be a unique experience.
And I feel like I rest my case. I think that okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
That was really good.
That was really good.
Right, Sandy. Ruling.
Well, I gotta say this one was tough for me, and it is tough for me. I think both of these are really cool ride ideas. I think the arguments are both presented very, very well. I know for Jacob's, from the opening statement, I was immediately on board, just from his description of the basic description of what everything might look like. I thought it was really cool. But I also think a ride based on Onward would be really cool. Jacob definitely took a hit with that Song of the South jab, which wasn't really defended. But I'm going to give this one to Jacob because I think that he made a very good point in saying that it is just a little bit Onward is just a little bit too much like something like
something like what you might find at the Harry Potter park at Universal, or possibly one of the Disney coasters, like Expedition Everest, where it's kind of like that cavernous mystery type coaster. If that makes any sense, but I just think that Jacob's idea was more unique, and I think he presented the argument very, very well. So I'm going to give it to Jacob.
All right, for me, I am voting Jacob as well. I want to make it clear, though, I love both of these pitches. Personally, I like Tiki's more. Personally, I do. I just feel Jacob. I think I think at the end he really stuck the landing very well. It was a really good kind of changing of blows all throughout the process. I don't know. Just Jacob was kind of little engine that could this round, man. I think he just kind of brought it on home. But again, two excellent rides that kind of got back to the station at the end of the day here. So my vote is for Jacob. Mickey fan.
All right, not that it really matters, but
Well, we like you, so we want to know what where you're leaning towards.
I'm really of two minds about this because from the pitch side, I think Tiki just killed it, and I think Jacob was, what he proposed would have been an awesome ride, but I would have much rather have seen it as a trackless dark ride than a coaster. But on the argument side, I have to give it to Jacob because he like you said, he was just a chugging train with this one.
Basically, when I thought of Inside Out for this, I thought it was like Thunder Mountain inside the brain.
That's a good idea. So, thank you, Fanny. So you're saying Jacob as well.
I have to, for argument, yeah, I have to give it to Jacob.
A clean sweep. It's so funny. Look at how things turned out. Round 1, Tiki got a clean sweep. Round 3, Jacob got a clean sweep. It's all relative, folks. So Jacob has a point on the board, and folks, we are at the end of the main round, which means it's time for the fully optional feature of the Pixar debates.
That was honestly the question I was most interested in and confident about.
Yeah. Well, you both did an excellent job with it. I'm really proud of you for this round.
At least I prevented a complete sweep.
All right. So,
sorry.
Okay, let's see. So, Jacob, you feeling lucky? Feeling adventurous? You want to go upward and onward, as it were, which, by the way, should have been the name of Tiki's ride if I have 2 cents in the matter, but it doesn't really matter.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Upward and onward.
He's flipping out.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, man.
All right, you know what? I think I'm just going to stick with my 3-point lead.
Okay. Let's see. I want to play the let's make a deal thing of it all right now. I want to see what it would have gotten had he flipped.
What I would have gotten? Okay.
Yeah, I want to see just so I know.
Well, I would have gotten heads, apparently.
Oh,
all right, well, good news. 3-0. Jacob's still in the game.
oh, man, talk about a Pyrrhic victory.
But you took it away from Jacob. Doesn't that make you feel good?
I mean, that's a Pyrrhic victory for me.
Anyway, so
God.
We're now entering the speed round. Of course, speed round way this works. 30 seconds followed by a 15-second rebuttal. Whoever speaks first goes first. We definitely may be turning to the audience, so hopefully they have their listening ears on for certain rulings, certain questions. If they had any pitches for questions, we'd be more than happy to kind of throw them out there. Perhaps we'd definitely be inclined to use them if you have them. Ideally Pixar related, but basically the speed round it's a mix of Pixar and a few other Disney related topics, depending if where we go with them. So, you boys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, sure.
Get it on.
All right, how about a nice seasonal softball? Who wants a nice seasonal softball? You, Sandy, you want a seasonal softball?
I do, yeah.
All right. Mickey?
Oh, why not?
Sounds good. All right. All right, so best green Pixar character.
Rex.
Tiki's got Rex.
Trying to think of other green Pixar.
So either now, it doesn't just have to be green skin. It can be predominantly green, or like a large portion of them is green. So like if characters like very identified by the color green, they are also included in this.
I can't think of a lot of any others in that regard, though.
I can think of one.
Yeah, there's a couple.
I mean, I can think of one. I think of
If
one.
you want Rex, I can give you one.
I can think of one very obvious one. I'm just trying to think of others. Disgust.
Okay, very nice. Okay, I'm impressed with that pick.
I think the obvious answer is honestly, oh shoot, what was the obvious answer?
Really, you forgot the obvious answer? It's really that obvious.
Mike Wazowski. Mike Wazowski.
Yes, Mike Wazowski. And also Buzz Lightyear would have been accepted.
And you know what? I would have specifically argued for Mike Wazowski in Monsters U. How about that?
Oh, it's even better.
I can't believe I forgot about Mike Wazowski.
Yeah, we had just like a few of the highlights, a few kind of like the ones kind of are on the board. Yeah, like Buzz Lightyear and Mike Wazowski is the major one.
Buzz is more like white though.
But it's you identify him by the color green on top of white though, so it counts.
Like the Star Command logo is blue.
Okay, now you're just being.
I identify Buzz more as purple, honestly.
Well, I'm saying it's purple, green, and white. Those are the three colors. The point being, other characters as well. You had RC, you had the Little Green Aliens, you had the LGMs. Beyond Toy Story, you had like Arlo and the Good Dinosaur. You had Merida from Brave, and basically.
Frankly, those last two aren't very good examples.
And you had like Fillmore from Cars, and point being, you had other options.
Well, Fillmore from Cars is blue.
Yes, Sarge is green.
Oh, wait. Well, yeah, Sarge is green. Like, come on, Fillmore had he's like.
Oh God! All right, Dragon, you're digging yourself into a hole.
He's a spring green. He's a spring green though. He's not blue. What are you nuts?
All right. Oh God.
He's more like,
whatever you say, Dragon.
Fillmore's more of a teal.
There you go, teal.
Disney debates.
Anyway, sorry. Getting back on point, Tiki, whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Okay. Rex is America's hero, man. I mean, forget about Woody. Wallace Shawn. Who doesn't love Wallace Shawn? Who hasn't grown up with Wallace Shawn's voice? Wallace Shawn is like the comfort food of the Toy Story franchise. When you hear that voice, even if he's never the main character, your heart just goes aflutter because he's that lovable. He represents childhood nostalgia. What little kid didn't love dinosaurs in the 90s? And Wallace Shawn as Rex just carries that love throughout the whole series.
I feel like Disgust is actually not she might not be the most prominent character, but what she does, she actually represents a very interesting aspect of the human mind. Like one, obviously represents disgust, but she also represents more like the common sense side of things outside of like joy. She's pretty much like the straight man to all the insanity going on around her, basically providing common sense to everyone else. Like, do this, don't do that. This doesn't sound right. Disgust is like one of the more well-rounded characters in Inside Out, believe it or not.
I feel like Disgust is honestly the least essential character in Inside Out because her whole thing is like the one joke about like either social disgust or pizza. And honestly, I feel like Fear is much more of the straight man in that group, the middleman kind of keeping everything together.
And Rex is just there in Toy Story. He's basically, that's it. He's just there. He doesn't really do much. Doesn't really contribute much to anything. He's just there to for Wallace Shawn to be funny. Basically, doesn't really contribute much to anything. He doesn't just basically just talks and is dumb. At least he's dumb. At least Disgust contributes to the overall story.
But Jacob, Rex uses his head quite a bit.
But I don't want to use my head.
That is okay. That's a fair point.
All right, let's see. Let's see. Looking at Sandy, where are you leaning?
I think with Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you guys think?
Mickey fan, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking Jacob.
Yeah. Well, Jacob did cover a lot of ground with his. He kind of went for a really interesting pick. You know what? I'm leaning towards Jacob too. Let's give it to the boy.
And let me tell you, Tiki, I'm very upset on you because you didn't say it's inconceivable to not love Wall Sean.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, so far Jacob's got 1 point on the board. Tiki's got 3. Still in the game.
All right.
All right, let's see.
Uphill battle.
Here's a fun one.
Oh no.
Okay, what is the most out there pitch of a Pixar film from like the marketing standpoint of each Pixar film? Basically, you read the synopsis, you see here like what basically your pitch for what the Pixar film was. What's the most out there crazy pitch of a Pixar film that we actually got?
Fuck it. Inside Out.
Yeah,
Apparently, we have a running movie throughout this conversation.
Oh boy, I wonder what Jacob's gonna pick.
there's all kinds of picks for this.
There are.
Cars.
Okay, Cars. Right, I was just dreading yet another Inside Out Coco battle. That's the thing.
Don't go straightforward in that regard.
Fair enough.
I'm surprised no one picked Brave. Jeez.
That was my first thought.
I would have picked Up personally.
Up was probably the one I should have picked.
Up is always my go-to with the out there Pixar.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was Pete Doctor versus Pete Doctor.
Or Ratatouille, even. I mean,
All right.
That's a point being the gobs of choices.
I guess technically Wally could have worked too.
That is well, they're all on. Okay, go on.
So I do think the Pixar movie that takes you inside the mind is the ultimate what the fuck pitch. It's the ultimate like, oh man, like how are they gonna do that? How are they gonna like even after we saw the teaser trailer for the control panel and how the emotions function and everything, and we see the dad emotions fighting with the mom emotions, I still had no idea how they were going to do it. With Inside Out, the genius is all about the world building and all about just kind of like the clever setup.
Basically, this is all about like what the heck are they doing? Like, why is this like? How could they make that work? And it's like basically you can get that based on the title by itself. Cars. It's like what about cars? Is it a movie about cars? And then it's just like basically like what's going on here? Why are these cars moving? Why are they talking? What's going on here? I mean, and yes, though when it came out, the movie was like basically a superstar out of its place. But as far as the marketing goes, it was just like, why are they making a movie about talking cars?
So Cars actually fit the Pixar branding pretty well in relation to like, all right, we have a movie about monsters, we have a movie about bugs, we have a movie about fish. And it also had like an odd couple dynamic with Lightning McQueen and Mater, 2 big Hollywood stars at the time. The formula for Cars was very cookie cutter Pixar.
And the concept of Inside Out is basically, what if feelings had feelings? It's like people have been like saying, what is Pixar going to add feelings to next? That's like something people had expected. But at the time, Cars was like basically like, why is Pixar doing something like this? After all these amazing things, why are they like seemingly stepping down for Cars?
Sandy. Sands.
oh, sorry, that was a mute.
Whew.
This one's kind of difficult because they're both weird, but they're not like weird enough, you know.
They really?
They're I mean they're not like Up or Brave weird. I mean, to me personally.
All right,
I mean,
well, based on the arguments.
I mean, I know, just talking Cars. It's pretty normal these days. Even back when that was released, it's pretty normal. I think Inside Out. Yeah, I think Inside Out. Yeah.
All right, I think I would agree. I think Tiki. I think Tiki argued how out there it was just even from the working title. All right. So Tiki gets the point. So that's Tiki's got 4. Jacob's got 1. If
Mickey
Jacob
fan?
does,
Sorry, I'm just curious which way Mickey fan was leaning on that one.
Mickey fan, Tiki wants to know your feelings.
I was going to go with Tiki.
All right, thank you.
Okay, validation. All right.
I mean, that's just the. I mean, honestly, I mean, I was doing it more from like a quality standpoint kind of thing.
Sure. All right. Okay. Okay. We're gonna go to an audience question now from our buddy Claudie. It's Claude
Ooh.
Garinga.
God.
And that's a question. Okay, Mickey fan, you pick between these 2 questions. Can you see the live comments?
Yeah.
Or no? Okay. Which one are you liking here?
Oh, those are both really good. Let's go with the second one. Let's go with the Broadway musical.
Oh
All
God!
right.
Oh,
Inside Out. Inside
Oh,
Out.
come
Give
on,
me
really?
Inside Out.
Ugh.
Give me Inside
All
Out,
right.
baby.
All right. Inside Out it is.
Really, Tiki?
Yes, really.
All right.
you're gonna hate me for this, but Coco.
Oh God.
Oh, come on. Come on, guys. Can we ban these 2 from being viewed?
Hey, he's
All right. Do you guys really want us to pick other ones?
Yes.
Please.
You know
Yes.
what? I'll go with the consensus. Yeah, let's come on, guys.
Okay.
We
All right,
can't
all
make
right, all right.
Coco Inside Out
I
hour.
was gonna pick something else, but the only reason I went with Inside Out is because he said Coco.
All right.
I mean, vice versa.
Yeah.
But
Damn.
technically, Inside Out's name in other countries.
All right, guys, we're doing the draw over again. Rewind.
You know what? I'm going to go with Finding Nemo.
That's already a musical, not
Oh,
really.
yeah, that's kind of a pretty. You can't.
All right, fine. It's not a Broadway musical, fuckers. Monsters Inc. Let's go Monsters Inc.
Okay. All right, take it easy. We're all trying to have. What are you, like Jeepers from Freakazoid right now? What are you doing?
You kind of. Toy Story.
Right.
All right.
So, Toy Story might have the edge in terms of a memorable score, but I feel like Monsters Inc., the edge it has is abstract costuming. Like imagine the costuming that you can do with Monsters Inc. It doesn't have to be super elaborate. It could be a little bit toned down like The Lion King, or it could be super elaborate. With Toy Story, I feel like there'd be definitely an uncanny valley quality to the costumes that you just wouldn't have with how abstract the concept in itself of Monsters Inc. is at the end of the day.
Toy Story's overall structure as a film lends itself very well to a musical, not even barring the fact that it does already have songs ingrained in to begin with. But I think its overall structure and plot could very well easily be translated into and even expanded when it comes to the theater. As for the costuming, I don't really think that'd be much of an issue. I mean, you could basically do like what the SpongeBob musical did. They basically have these costumes representative of the characters, but still like have them behave in a way similar to represent the fact that yes, they are still in fact toys.
You see, with Monsters Inc., you don't need that abstract quality. You can do crazy costumes on stage that are visually dazzling, but also you have a story that, frankly, is a little bit more heartbreaking than an average Toy Story with the Baibu of it all that would really translate to a dramatic musical number.
Even in terms of costuming, it'd be kind of hard to convincingly portray a story of the high caliber of that Monsters Inc. has onto the Broadway stage. It's just something that, I mean, even with the abstract nature, it's just something that probably would be impossible to pull off effectively compared to the movie.
You know, sometimes it's fun to do the impossible.
As a wise guy once said.
All right, Claudie, if you're in the comments right now, hopefully you are. I'm going to let you call this round. If you
Ooh.
get back to us in like a minute or two here, because in the meantime, Tiki, you tell them what we're doing Sunday.
Sunday, yes, Sunday. So, folks, Sunday, in light of all the craziness going on in the world and the very uncertain times that we're facing, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting together pretty much everyone who's been involved in the channel in some way, shape, or form. And we're going to just be doing a hangout, just kind of like basically talking through each person's like area of expertise. So, for example, on the WDW Magic side of things, we're going to have D. Hindley on board, and D. Hindley is going to give us some travel stories because that's kind of his area of expertise. Meanwhile, we're going to have Jacob Gulliver from Super Academy. He's going to come on board. He's going to show off some of his Doctor Strange comics and talk a little bit of Multiverse of Madness with us. You know, kind of do some speculation. We haven't talked to him about Multiverse of Madness since the Sam Raimi rumors started popping up, so we'll get his take on that. Just all kinds of different things. You know, we'll do some Disney debate speed rounds with Mickey Fan. Joe Adventure Blue Dude is actually going to come on, a rare Adventure Blue Dude sighting. So hopefully Pie on My Cake, if he's not working, will make an appearance as well. So a bunch of different people, a bunch of different people from the channel's past and future getting together. I'm very much looking forward to it. And it looks like Claude has made a ruling. Toy Story wins. Congrats, Jacob.
All right. Point goes to Jacob. All right.
2-4.
All right.
All right, let's see. Okay, let me hit you with a good one here. So I'll make sure I get this one in. All right. Could be the last one if Tiki gets this.
Hmm.
All right. Okay. This separates the boys from the men in this one. All right, Jacob, are you familiar? Okay, basically, here's the question. But you guys have to wait till I can make sure I fully explain this one. Okay, just wait for your draw. Okay.
Okay.
Best Pixar matchstick moment. Now, are you both aware what a matchstick moment is?
Yes.
Jacob?
You don't need to explain it what it is to me.
You know what it is. Okay. So to the
I said you might need to. You need to explain what it is.
Yes. Okay. Folks, here's what a matchstick moment is. I'm going to use one example that cannot be used within the argument here. Basically the genesis of the whole thing. So you remember in Toy Story where they're trying to catch up to the moving van, and Woody has this match put into his holster, and basically it's like, oh no, they lost the van, they're on RC, but Buzz has a rocket, and Woody has a match. He's like, you, the audience member, thinking, he's going to light the rocket, he's going to light the rocket, he's going to light the rocket, lights the rocket, and car blows it out. And basically, this is what we're looking for, like the best misdirect within the climax of a Pixar film. So basically, that matchstick moment where basically every Pixar movie has a moment like that one where you think, okay, you, the audience member, think you know exactly what's going to happen. Then it doesn't happen. Then our characters, whoever's in the situation, has to come up with a way to get where they're going or how to resolve the issue of the film, the main conflict of the film. And so basically, the only two exclusions are Toy Story and Onward, because some people may or may not have seen Onward. So.
I was going to go for Onward. Damn it.
I'm sorry, man. I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Would it be the Valhalla moment?
I don't want to spoil anything about what the Valhalla moment might be, so damn it. Okay, now I'm gonna have to think of another one.
Definitely don't spoil it, especially since we can't see it.
Okay,
literally.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. So we really can't.
I thought you were going to give us an option.
Well, look, if you guys really need the help, I'm willing to give you a moment if you name the movie. I'm willing to lay it out for you, but you're gonna have to go with it no matter what movie you pick, though. Once I tell you what the moment is, that's the trade-off.
Would the Toy Story 4 one be the Gabby's voice box?
Yes, that would be that'd be the voice.
I'm going to go with Toy Story 4.
Right. So basically, when she's tossed aside by the girl, once you find that's the moment. Yeah.
That's a tough one. The plant from Wall-E.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Wall-E's idea to go back to Earth.
Okay.
Would that be a matchstick moment?
Well, I would actually phrase the matchstick moment for like when Wall-E loses his memory. That would be kind of the matchstick moment.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'll go with that then.
Okay. So basically, the whole like before the kiss wakes him up. Basically, we get Wally back to Earth, and we fix Wally up, but he's mentally not there. That's the matchstick moment.
All right,
Okay.
I thought you're going with the whole climactic element, so that's why I went with that one.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
Wally versus Toy Story 4. All right.
Oh, this is going to be a tough one.
So I just think the emotional resonance of the Gabby conflict in Toy Story 4 is probably the big centerpiece of that movie. You know, as much as we care about Woody saying goodbye, and as much as we care about Bo Peep and his reunion and everything about that, Gabby at the end of the day is the character in Toy Story 4 that just kind of swoops in and steals your heart in spite of being the movie's prototypical villain. And to see that transformation, to see that switch is just very unique in Toy Story 4.
What makes the moment in Wally special is like, that's another memory, like, oh, he lost his memory after all that. But what makes it so special is that these are two characters who have grown together throughout this entire movie. It's like, it's like someone you wanted to see succeed, but like he was torn away. Basically, basically Wally himself is the emotional centerpiece of this movie, and when he seemingly loses all of that, it's like basically your heart just sinks and drops.
You know, I got to admit, the thing about the Wally matchstick moment that's always bothered me is that I feel like it comes too late into the climax. It almost comes at the very end of the movie, and we get a very quick, very dramatic matchstick moment. Yeah, but it's overall too quickly for me.
I think the term you're looking for is short and sweet, and I think that's kind of what the movie calls for, what the movie needed, short and sweet, and that's exactly what the movie needed. Gabby is definitely interesting, but talk about a moment that's over pretty much too quickly in terms of the movie itself.
All right, Sandy, you're calling this one, buddy.
Gonna go with I'm gonna go with Gabby because I remember in theater and looking back on it, just that was a very powerful, what seemed to be ending for that character. It's a very powerful moment because you're right, Tiki, that she does just kind of swoop in and steal your heart. And I guess I hadn't really realized that, but you're absolutely right. I hadn't reflected on that before. But yeah, that's a really good point, and I'm going to give it to you.
All right, with that, Tiki won.
Woohoo!
All right, Tiki, let's switch back to the main image as we kind of prep everybody for the big epic finale.
All right.
Yeah.
Jacob is the speed round king, so I feel proud of defeating the speed round king.
Seriously though, some solid arguments all around. I think we, you guys, you fought to the bloody finish for sure.
Yeah, well fought, Jacob.
Yep, well fought.
That was fun.
Good job,
I want to
guys.
get rid of the speed round banner thing, Tiki.
Oh yeah, right. Sorry.
All right, so Monkey's just joining us.
It's you versus me.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the long and short of the Monkey. It's now the third and final round has been decided. Our players have kind of worked their way up the brackets. Tiki versus Mickey Fan.
So what's the next game? So what's the next thing going to have a round worth 3 points?
Oh God! Don't say that.
You'll have to wait and find out.
I'm still not entirely happy with my win based on that. Honestly, I really want to go back to the second coin. I don't know.
Yeah, Dragon, maybe switch it up so you don't have that option every time, or that kind of.
Oh, believe
I
me,
just feel like the second coin is much more of a risk reward factor, whereas With this, it's just kind of like, oh, look, you did the same amount of work and you get double the reward.
I
Yeah.
can't make any promises about that second coin going to the next one, but believe me, you won't have the same trick twice going to
All
the
right,
next
all
one. I'll
right.
say that much for you. So, folks, so I'm going to say this to kind of prepare both of you for what you're about to face in,
Oh, God.
in the grand finale here, okay? I do feel compelled to warn you both. The next trial, by far, is the most difficult yet.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm
And chances
excited.
are, neither of you are walking out of the ring. If you're lucky, you'll leave in a stretcher. Not so lucky, probably body bag.
Oh, man. Wow.
I don't say this to scare
Pretty.
you, gentlemen. I
So
don't say
basically, one will be Apollo Creed versus Drago.
I don't say this to scare you, but to prepare you. And to the winner, I say this, whoever it may be. To a winner, I say this: when all is said and the last round is won, you'll be able to stand tall with the Elias belt. We'll go down the story on that one next time. The Elias belt, and be able to say defiantly, "I am the champion." For the sheer weight of your victory and that belt brings you down to your knees and then onto a stretcher with a smile on your face because you won.
Oh, man.
That's what you have waiting for you. Next installment of Disney Debates, where we kind of conclude the trials of the Hyperion.
All right. And yeah, like I said, guys, be sure to join us this Sunday. I don't even know what we're calling it yet, but it's going to be the big group hangout where we're going to be gathering a bunch of people from the channel, past and present. We'll be doing some trip reports. We'll be doing some Disney debates. We'll be doing some Doctor Strange talk with Jacob Gulliver, all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh yeah, you know, I never gave my Disney trip report, did I?
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay.
So just just all kinds of fun stuff. And Dragon, take us out.
Well, folks, that does it for now. Judges, we got to go home. Contestants also have to go home. We'll be back in April for like kind of a Fool's Rush In installment of Disney Debates. And boy, will it be fun! See you next time.
Have a good night, everyone.